will do. Yep, we're recording. So what I will do is just get everyone's name if I can. That way, if I do have questions, if I do want to call, I'm not just sitting here and pointing and making everybody feel completely awkward. So Liddell, I already know you.
Christy.
Christy.
Yes.
All right, Christy.
Tiara.
Tiara. All right. Devon.
Asia.
Asia.
Ashley.
Ashley.
Amir.
Amir.
Yeah.
All right, so I got Amir and Jake. All right, awesome. So I got Linnell, Amir, Ashley, Devon, Tiara, Christy, Jake. Wonderful. So I think I've seen a lot of you already within classes, right? And everybody can hear me pretty fine. Good. I'm a little congested, so I'm not sure what I sound like to everybody. So here's what I want to do, right? Today we're going to talk about building a bigger life. All right. Just a quick show of hands. How many of you have thought about where you would like to be in 5 years? Awesome. Now, when you thought about that, what did that process look like? How many of you have put that down on paper? Okay, so let me hear just some of the ideas 5 years from now. And Christy, I'll start with you.
5 years from now, I hope to have everything established where I'm creating supplemental income while spending more time with my family.
Creating supplemental income while spending more time with your family. All right, come on.
Me 5 years ago, my husband said you started a children teach financial literacy.
Start a nonprofit for children, teach financial literacy. That's awesome. There are realtors and politicians in this area that would love to work with you on that. Politicians that have tried implementing that for months, years on end, to no avail. Alan Dom himself has written, I don't know how many, Chris knows, Alan Dom has written, I don't know how many times to try to put it out there so that way starting in kindergarten, students would actually get financial literacy in schools, and it's constantly knocked down. So there's a lot of people around you who are willing to work with you on that. And I don't know if you know this, you can always just run up in the building and actually meet councilmen and people like that. So Ashley, you thought about it?
I would love to go back to school, get my whole life.
And get your broker's license. Why?
I want to be at the top of the top, and then I want to own my own brokerage and everything.
What if I told you you could actually own a Keller Williams brokerage without having a broker's license? As a matter of fact, a lot of people who sit in the role as a broker, oftentimes are not at the top of the top. A lot of times they're paid to be the broker. They also take a lot of liability, things of that nature. So I don't know if you've had conversations with brokers in the past and said, hey, let's sit down and talk about your job. I would recommend you do that, right? Details, we're looking at where we plan to be in 5 years or more. It's always going to be extremely important, right? Amir?
Thinking of, I heard broker.
Broker?
5 years and trying to be
I hear a lot of people are just like, I'm gonna be a broker. And I was like, why?
This so I can sell my own property, get my own portfolio.
Licensed realtor, right? Are you a licensed realtor?
Actually, yeah, I can pay for it.
So you don't have to be a broker to do it. As long as you're under a brokerage, you'll be fine. But now you thought about it. You thought about where you plan to be in 5 years?
Yeah, I have actually. I'm gonna be on my fourth multifamily property. Business will start to be about 70% referral based.
Okay.
Don't have to be on cold calling as much anymore.
Yeah.
I'll just do this to play for myself. I like it.
Flex months.
I like that. Personally, we 2 years in, thinking about getting pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah. So
All right. We're still recording this. Just don't show this to my wife. All right. She's not allowed to think about that yet. Okay. Jake, have you thought about where you plan to be in 5 years?
Thought about it, mostly I would like to have some form of success and still be in real estate in 5 years.
Okay. Have some sort of form of success and still be in real estate in 5 years. So I'm going to ask this follow-up question for you. What does success look like to you?
In 5 years, I would say that I'm living on my own for sure. That's like within a year, I want that.
Okay,
And then within 5 years, hopefully I bought a place and like I'm making decent money.
okay,
Like at the very least,
Self-sufficient.
self-sufficient while also being able to save and maybe go on vacation.
awesome. I love it. And I'm glad you threw vacation out there. So I'm gonna ask another question for everybody. I want you to take the next about 2 minutes. We're gonna type this out, 2 minutes, and write down on the paper you have in front of you. What does your perfect life look like? Your perfect life, your dream life, doesn't have to be 5 years, just what does that dream life look like for you? And I'd like for you to do that in as much detail as possible. All right, so not just, I'm gonna own a home. You're gonna own a home. Where's that home gonna be? What does it look like? How big is it? How many rooms, bedrooms? Put as much detail into everything. If you're taking vacations, how many vacations? Where are you going? All right, so we're gonna take 2 minutes and do that. Good morning. You are fine. All right, and 1 more minute. Get as much down there as you can. So right now what we're doing is we're writing out what our dream life looks like. Yeah. All right, awesome. So here's what I'm going to say. And I love the fact that we're, for the most part, pretty spread out. Right, there's this thing we say all the time at KW within our old class, which is don't compare your insides to other people outsides. Right? What your dream life is may be completely different than what someone else's dream life might look like. Right now, here's a question: how many people struggled writing this out? Anyone struggle with it? You did. Okay, tell me a little bit. What was it that was challenging for you?
Because there's a part where I feel like. I have like physically seen it.
You have to physically see it. Okay. So there are times where you have to physically see what it is that you would like to have in the future. That's what you're saying. Okay. All right. JP, what was the challenge for you?
The challenging part to me, well, I mean, so part of the challenge for me is that I don't. Anytime I'm envisioning the future, to me, like that's a discussion between my wife and I. That's not something that like I dictate for both of us. But also there are just a lot of things that I know my big why, and there are a lot of things that can fuel that big why. And I haven't decided yet which of those is something that I want to do forever. So, you know, I put down a number of things that I would enjoy or that I would find fulfilling as a part of that big light, but I'm not sure which one of them is perfect.
Got it. So I'm going to ask you some follow-up questions if you don't mind.
Yeah.
How many of the things that you put down there were personal? And how many were business related?
It was a little bit of a blend. So the first thing that I put down is kind of both. One of the like pipe dreams that my wife Lauren and I have is to own and run a large bed and breakfast together.
Love
So to me, that's a little bit of both, like, obviously that would be income generating, but also like. That would be our home, that would be a big part of our day-to-day is, maintaining that and, offering different things to the people staying there. Connecting with the people staying there, getting to know them, helping them experience, whatever part of the, the country we're in at that point. So that was a little bit of both, but, the big personal thing was that I want the balance of time spent with my family versus working to shift way in the family direction.
Okay, so you would like to spend majority of your time with family outside of work. Okay, what's keeping you from doing that at the moment?
We're still in the building stages. We're still, like one of the things I have down is that, we want to have multiple investment properties so we can have passive income streams. And we are in the process of, getting to our first one right now. We're in the process of building our capital. We're in the process of paying down our debts. And right now that means gotta put in some sweat equity.
Okay. Now, how many people here, you have a full list, you have everything down in front of you that you really can consider to be your perfect life, it's your dream life. Does everybody have that in front of you? Okay, here's what I would like for you to do now. Next to everything that you put down, put a dollar amount to it. How much is that going to cost you? So, let's say you decided, I'm going to take 4 vacations a year. Every vacation is going to be at least a week long. 2 of those vacations are going to be international. 2 of those vacations are going to be domestic. And when I take these vacations, my goal is to be as comfortable as possible. And so maybe you have a dream to go to the Maldives and stay in the Maldives for a week. Okay, if that's the case, what are flights going to cost for that? What are hotels going to cost for that? How much are you paying in excursions? Okay. If you put down your house, and your house is a 5-bedroom, 6.5 bath home on 5 acres of land, where is that? How much is that going to cost you? We'll take another minute to do that portion.
What does the QW brokerage cost?
250,000 minimum to start. It's brand new. If not brand new, then it's based off of what their profits are, and it's just like buying another business. So I want to average. I think you probably somewhere around. It's 250. And I think you also have to have a minimum of $1 million in cash reserves.
Like that.
There's still only been 13 market settings in the history of KW that's profited $1 million.
I wanna do that alone.
Only you make more money as an agent, as a realtor, than you would as a brokerage owner. Yeah. I see people thinking hard. So you can keep writing. I'm going to ask some questions here. When's the last time you thought about your perfect life and your dream life this way and in this much detail?
It's wild.
It's been a while. Yeah. Do you realize why this is important? Here's the thing. When we're talking about where we are planning to be, what's important to us, you would be somewhere in 10 years. Okay, how are you going to get there? We're going to get to that part, setting the goals in just a second, right? We have to think big first. Gary Keller always talks about thinking big. As a matter of fact, he says, think big, aim high, and bold.
You're 5 years away from your goal.
You're only 5 years away from where you truly desire to be. And I think we have a number of people who are in, I'll say KW, However, we'll just say a number of people who are in real estate have invested in themselves, right? Have had leadership invest in them as well. And now, within 2, 3, 4 years, working on their 5th year, they're closer and closer to living the life that they'd like to be in. Okay, there's a young lady in Chicago, I believe she just turned 32, 33. She now is opening her first KW brokerage out there. Has a team of about 5 or 6 people. They do well over $1 million in profit a year for a team. She's only been with KW for, I want to say 3 or 4 years. She was doing well as an agent. She had never thought about her goals before. Her name is Rashana Scott. Right? You have Montez McCrae down in Maryland, DC area as well. 2nd year in the business. And if you asked him last year what his goals were, he probably would have told you he had no idea. Since then, he's been coaching, things of that nature. He's now just released a book to help agents in their first year of real estate. Did 11 million in his first year. Had no idea what he was doing. So his goals have changed, his mindset has changed, everything's different. How many people were here? Was it last week? Yeah, Keith James. Last week with Keith James. All right. So Keith is just on his 4th, 5th year in real estate. And now we can see where he is along the way. He's 5 years in real estate. And they're not making $1 million. They're donating $1 million. That's a big difference. Right? When you look at your paper, and let's be 100% honest with ourselves, would you say that what you have in front of you and what you thought about in the past, you've been thinking big? Or have you been thinking fairly limited because of what you've seen? What you think you may be able to do on your own? Or do you have unlimited thoughts? I see smiles. Who'd like to answer? Do you think you've been thinking big, or have you been thinking fairly limited? Come on. Devon, you said for you it's limited. You're thinking big. All right, awesome. So tell me a little bit about that. What does thinking big look like for you and your paper? Let us hear it. It's all right. Complex is good.
So, me, let's say, I'm the only person in my family who has like higher financial books than a lot of even my parents. So, for me, thinking big and building a financial support system for my family and future generations by establishing a trust along with holding companies that hold different LLCs, properties, and assets and transfer them over to future generations.
Awesome. I love that. So when you're doing that and you're building that financial foundation, what does that look like? Financially, how much do you have to be able to take care of you, the family, and everyone else?
I would at least have to be in 300K a year to start that establish that.
Okay. Awesome. Now, let's just think about that here, right? Our average commission is about 10,000. Right, so that's 10 units a year. So if you do 30 units a year, you can be well on your way to that 300,000. You know, here's why we put the numbers to it. Because if we realize how much it's going to cost us to have the lifestyle that we are really looking to have, we can start to work backwards. We can start to work backwards on it. Right? How many people here, before writing down what their perfect life is, had an idea of how much money they had to make or wanted to make in their head? Keep your hand up if the amount of money that you said you wanted to make ends up actually being less than what you just looked at.
So again,
Yeah, so if you were thinking, I have to make 100,000 a year, I have to make 200,000 a year, and then you went down your dream life and realized $100,000 a year is not going to cut it. Right? Does anybody feel that way? Like what you have on your paper right now, it's not going to cut it. It's like, okay, I have to do more. Really, I choose to do more. I get to do more. This is why when we're thinking about building a bigger life, we really have to put it down on paper. We really have to put out all the details. Right? So here's what I'm going to let you do. We're gonna take 2 more minutes. Actually. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes to go back to your list. Add to it and add as much detail as possible. And as much of the financial side as possible. Okay? So if you put down, I'm gonna own a house, I'm gonna own a business, awesome, I love it. What kind of business? Where's it gonna be? How much is it profiting? What's the house look like? If you're gonna be 2 years in and potentially having kids, awesome. What's the childcare and all that stuff look like? Are you gonna have a nanny? Love to have a nanny. Would, that'd be great.
It's almost 13, I was still taking. Just. Clean up with leavings.
Clean up the mess. Mr. J. All right. How are we doing with that? While you're doing this, I also want you to think about how many days of vacation you're gonna take a year. Think about how many days of vacation you plan to take a year. I mean, is there anyone in this room that's thinking I'm gonna work 365, maybe 366 days a year? Absolutely not. Right? And when it comes to us building out our goals, we're not building this around working 365 days a year.
So I think you need to in the beginning.
Yeah. I love the idea. And most of us would feel that way. And we'll talk about that too. Matter of fact, as soon as we finish this, I'll get to that one for you. Yep. So here's for that part, if you think you're taking 4 vacations, awesome. Subtract that from the number of days. If you're working weekends, or if you're not working weekends, don't include weekends. Right? Don't make that a part of vacations. Days. We can do everything based off of business days.
Yeah, nice one.
All right, awesome. So one person, let's throw out the number that you have to make.
Think this is gonna work?
No, the number that you plan to make in a year.
Oh, plan here. million.
Million a year. All right. Okay, awesome. So average commission is 10,000. Actually, that's 100 homes. It's 100 homes a year. So, how many people have that perfect business where we're closing 100% of every single thing that we have under contract? Doesn't happen, right? So here's what we're gonna do. On average, a lot of times what we're seeing is somewhere close to like 70-75%. So for this, we'll say 75%. If you have been in real estate, you already closed deals, registered and Chris. You've already closed some deals, and you know, hey, for every 10 clients, I actually only get 5 of them to close. Then make that 50%. All right. For this purpose, we're gonna do 75%. Okay. So I know that it'll be 75. 75 homes that actually, I'm sorry, that's not correct. That is 125. Okay. Reason is, did I do that math right? 100.
That would be an 80% close rate.
0.75. 133. There we go. 133. So that means I have to have 133 homes go under contract in order for me to actually close 100 homes.
Oh,
Now, does that mean that every single client we have is going to go under contract? Probably not. As a matter of fact, who here works with more buyers than sellers? Probably most of us at the moment. Right? So let's keep that at 75%. 75% of the people that we work with are going to actually go under contract. Which puts that 177. We need 177 clients. This is to make $1 million. Your number might not be $1 million, so do it based off of the number that you have in front of you. Okay. Now, I know the numbers are starting to look big. That's perfectly fine. Right. One of the things that Gary Keller says is that no matter how big your goals are, remember that it always goes back to starting small. So once we work this number up, we're going to do something to show you exactly how easy and how simple it can really be. All right. So we're at 177. How many appointments? How many appointments? How many people here have already had at least one house close? Okay. How many homes have you closed so far?
This year,
Period. Yeah.
4,
4?
yeah,
Okay. How many clients have you had?
5, 6,
Okay. How many appointments did you go on? What people did you talk to?
6.
6. Okay, so she's like, everybody came to me, it was perfect. All right. Usually that's not always the case. Sometimes we might see this number close to about 50% as we start to grow business, especially here. I don't even think Mike McCann is closing 100% of his appointments. Right? So let's do this at 50%. $354 appointments. Conversations. How many people we talk to? Sometimes that number is really going somewhere between 10 to 25% conversations. So we're going to go to low end. We're going to be conservative with it. These are just conversations with people about real estate. These are not appointments that you go on. Right? This is you potentially in Starbucks in the line while you're ordering your coffee, and someone sees that you have a Keller Williams bag on, and they start talking to you about the fact that, you know, they thought about real estate, how's the market, things like that. Maybe you exchange information. Okay. Always go somewhere branded, let people see you and know who you are. That's the only bag I use. I haven't been with Delaware West Philadelphia since 2020. And it's still the only bag that I use. When I'm in the airport, it's that bag. That's my carry-on, like that's everything. It causes conversations. Maybe you have a jacket, maybe you have a hat. Right? Have something branded. Maybe you have it on your car. People do that. I'm not a tax person yet. There are ways to get certain incentives based off of your car, the size of your car, things like that. But let's just say 10% of this. 3,540. That's how many conversations, real estate conversations you need to have in a year to make $1 million. Okay, now how many days a year do you plan to work?
351.
351. You're not taking a lot of vacations.
2 1 weeks, one every half,
2 1 weeks.
2 1 weeks.
Okay. Ooh, more power. I'm gonna let you work with me. You can take everything that I am not doing during that time. All right. So 3540 divided by 351. Start small, right? Do you think it'd be challenging for you to have 10 conversations a day around real estate?
No.
You're thinking about making $300,000 a year. You're probably sitting closer to 3 conversations a day. For us to have the big life that we're looking at, doesn't take a whole lot. It's always about starting small. What happens is over time, we start to do something that JP's gonna talk about later, building a database. Right? That later today or is that?
Database day is on January 3rd at 10 a.m.
January 3rd and today.
Talk about all my presents.
Yes.
30 minutes.
So think about that. For me to have the large lifestyle that I'm looking for, if it's $1 million a day, I can really just hold myself to one, figuring out exactly what it is I'm looking for. That's the first thing. Second is now saying, okay, what is it going to take for me to get there? How many people already realize that I need to talk to 10, 15, 20 people a day and I'll be okay? You know those numbers. How many people knowing those numbers talk to 10, 15, 20 people every single day? You do.
Yeah, my business started at a red light, someone's walking by, yeah, and everything.
Okay. Are you able to stop and have a conversation, get their information, put it in their database? Okay.
But no, I'm a talker, so,
Because I'm a talker.
yeah,
All right.
I'll talk to, yeah, 10's easy.
10's easy for you. Okay. So now are you making sure that those are intentional conversations specifically around real estate to get business out of it or get referrals out of it?
Business.
Business?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel
Remember,
like-
referrals or business?
Well, I feel if you're a real estate agent, 95% of the time you're talking about real estate.
So, JP, I'm gonna ask you. What would you think?
I think that if 95% of the time, all you're talking about is real estate, people are gonna start tuning that out. I think that. So, not to hijack your class.
No, you're listening to me.
We hear all the time that in order for someone to transact with you, there are 2 buckets that we need to fill. We need to fill the credibility bucket, and that's you talking about real estate. When you are, I sang at church on Friday night, and afterwards, one of the musicians came up, and we probably spent 35 minutes talking about real estate. But I already had the other bucket filled with him because I've known him for 15 years, and the other bucket is trust. So people are going to respect your credibility when you're talking about real estate and you're showing your knowledge of the market. When you build the trust is when you are talking about things that are important to you, talking about things that provide value to the other person outside of real estate. Like we talked about with the flyer that I posted, that person isn't inviting people out to a real estate seminar. She's inviting people out to a vision board workshop And the only time real estate was mentioned on that flyer is because she had to put her brokerage info down there. You know, that humanizing, that's what builds the trust. And when you have both of those, that's when someone's gonna want to transact with you.
See, I always find no matter, even when I start a general conversation with you and we're talking 15, 20 minutes, I feel it always leads into.
And it's
that's
great
great.
when it leads there.
Huh?
And it's great as long as it's leading there, right?
Right, but again, that's what I mean by 95%, I just don't come out and speak about, hey, how you doing, I know about the market, blah, blah. It's kind of like engaging and then it kind of just slip right in.
Yeah. But I'll get right to you, okay? So here's one of the things, where I just put up here, it's called trust triangle. Right, so every conversation you have, any interaction we have with people, is what's gonna be able to build trust with people, right? There's 3 legs to it, so, you think about this easel right here, everybody can see this, that's 3 legs to it, right? You would have logic, empathy, and then authenticity. Logic is the information that you have, what you know, the knowledge base that you have, which is great. Right? People want to see, again, the credibility. That's what allows you to have the credibility. As a realtor, understanding the market is a part of that credibility. You also have authenticity, you being you. You're a talker, talk. I'm a talker myself. I love to talk, right? I love to talk to people about everything, especially if it has to do with sports and the outdoors. I'm down for it. As a matter of fact, when I lead generated, I went to sports bars. Put my cell phone down. I turned every single notification on. So that way, anytime something happened, my phone light lit up. And I put 1 business card down. That's the only business card I had. 1 business card on top. How many people know that other people are very nosy and care about everything that has nothing to do with them?
Yeah.
Right? So what do you think happened every single time that my phone lit up? Everybody looked at it. What did they see?
Business owner.
My business card. What do you think we talked about afterwards? Right? So hey, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go out to the sports bar, I'm gonna go to Urban Village, I'm gonna go to the areas that I like to do business in. I'm gonna have conversations around sports and things where I can connect, be myself with people, and then I'll also be able to give them the logic and credibility portion. And the last leg is empathy. Me being able to connect with them on a level to show them that I actually care about them. Right? Now, am I going to have a hard time having this conversation on Saturday if the person I'm talking to is a Cowboys fan? Probably so. Feel bad for them. Right? Yeah, I might feel bad for them. I might talk to them about why they should choose to be an Eagles fan instead, and how much better their life would be if they did that. And at the same time, you know, we're going to have a good time, right? When you have one of those legs missing, it's very challenging to build trust, especially if you don't have the empathy part, because they might not feel like the authentic side of us is actually there. Or if they don't see the authenticity, they might feel like, you know, we're not really being empathetic and it's just being fake to try to get their attention. Right? If we don't have the logic, then they're like, oh yeah, no, you're a great person for me to go grab drinks with. You're not the person that I'm going to go and do real estate with. Right? So that's very important in all our conversations when we bring that up. But Devon, I know you had a question, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, so the arrow, I just read it's crazy, but I just read the quote that keeps on getting it keeps saying read I don't want to pray and last week, but
Yep. Yep.
I got to put the same money which I would read. So
It's a great one.
I was reading it, he basically explaining the same thing. He was explaining a lot of people like to really self-worth read your reports. So you don't want to go around people explaining who I do all this and my business is this much a year. They don't hear that because one is key. So it's like you just have to explain the business. It's not important to them.
Yep, they don't care.
You have to basically explain their importance to them and how to buy and read that to you. So like, I'm not hating it, but for the 8 years, like saying things to clients, it's like we go to them. Like, okay, and I hope you get a house that it was really durable. It's like I need to ask the buyer, like, what you're doing.
Yeah, one of the quotes that's out there is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Right? People don't. They don't care what it is that you would like to share with them until they realize that you're sharing it because you're actually looking to help them. If you're sharing it to help yourself, they're not worried about it. If you're sharing it because of the fact that you know it's going to make a difference in their life, and by doing that, by making a difference in their life, you're also going to be able to make a difference in your own, then we have a win-win. right? And since we're at Keller Williams, right? Win-win or no deal. It's the beginning of our beliefs. Right? So that part is important as well. So for some of us, it's 10 a day, 10 conversations a day. For some of us, it's 3 conversations a day. For some of us, it might be 5 conversations a day. Guess what? Doing that consistently is going to help you build that better life. I saw how many hands did not stay up when we talked about the fact that we know exactly what it is that we have to do every day and still don't do it. A lot of people are going to talk about motivation. What's motivating you? Well, let's have fun with that. What I'd like for you to do now is write down the top 5 most important things in your life. That can be family. It can be your faith, right? It can be your finances. It can be legacy that you plan to leave in the future, or the legacy that you plan to live. And if you say, hey, I don't have 5, I only have like 3. For some people, it is only 3, and that's fine. Repeat the other ones. And if you're on Zoom, hopefully you're following along with this and doing this at home or in your car. If you're pulled over on the side of the road, if you're driving, just listen. I've done it before. I pulled over in like a McDonald's parking lot and taught a class. Because I was in traffic, couldn't make it to where I had to go. Couldn't make it back to the office. I don't even eat McDonald's. Just the closest thing there. All right, so let me hear, what are some of these things? Ashley's like, I'm gonna smile, I'm not gonna talk. All right, so I'm gonna put down health. There we go. Health. Family. You said faith. And you said one else, finances, right? All right. Boom. So let me hear some others. Or is this most of what we had?
Yeah, I had knowledge there.
Everything else you had? Great. All right, so let's have fun. Okay, let's have a little bit of fun. Do we think about these things every single day from the moment we wake up? As realtors, we should. As a matter of fact, even if we focused on one a day, it'd be great. Maybe we focus on it in this order. Let's think about the goals that we are looking to accomplish in our life around health. The goals we're looking to accomplish around family. The goals we're looking to accomplish around faith. The goals we're looking to accomplish around finances. The goals we're looking to accomplish around knowledge. Now, you can divide your stuff up however you would like to, because it may not be 10 per day for each one. Yet, I would say still keep it at 10 a day. And at the end of the day, I'm probably gonna be one of the few people that will tell you this. When you're building your calendar, yes, it is amazing and it's great to put 2 to 3 hours worth of lead generation on your calendar every single day. You should do that. And 2 to 3 hours of lead generation is not what's important. What's important is that when you lead generate, you actually get your goals. Now, if this was me, this means that my goal, or should I say if this was Christy, and these were still her same goals, then our goal for every Monday would be to talk to 10 people. If Christy does not hit her goal on Monday and talk to 10 people, Guess what? She also doesn't hit her health goals. She doesn't talk to 10 people on Tuesday. She doesn't hit the goals for her family. She's not disappointing herself necessarily. On that day, it's family. Finances. What happens when you don't hit your goal for your finances? What happens when you don't hit your goal for knowledge, for faith? I love the fact that you put faith down there. That's one of mine. Right? I actually go by family, faith, family, finances, future, and fun. Future is the legacy I plan to leave, fun is my vacation and things like that. Every goal I set is so that I can do the things there. And guess what? They all still tie back into my family. Even faith ties back into my family, whether or not I'm going to be able to lead the way that I'm supposed to lead within my family. Am I able to take care of and provide for the people that surround me? How much more impactful is it when we are able to stand in front of ourselves, in front of the mirror? I'm saying the mirror because I'm old school, so when I lead generate in front of a mirror, right? If I'm picking up the phone, then I'm on the phone and I'm standing in front of a mirror, so that way I can keep up my smile and everything else, and I know exactly what that conversation looks like and feels like with somebody. Right? That's the old school version of lead generator right there. Might have a headset on. You know what I'm talking about. That's old school right there. It works. What does it look like when I'm lead generating? Not for my numbers, not just for the number of units that I want to close, not just for the amount of money that I'm looking to make. Instead, I'm now looking to lead generate for my family. Are you willing at the end of the day to go home and say, you know what? I didn't talk to the 10 people that would have allowed me to help my family the way that I should have. I didn't talk to the 10 people that would allow me to actually take care of and go on the vacations that I promised my family not to do. I didn't talk to the 10 people that would have allowed me to take care of my finances in such a way that now we're prepared for a rainy day if something happens. If we happen to go through another pandemic, I didn't take care of my lead generation today, which means I didn't hit the goals that would allow me to take care of my physical and mental health. And because of the fact that now I haven't done what I need to do to pay for my health insurance or whatever the case may be, right? To be able to put more money into our life insurance. Because I didn't do that, I'm now going to be sick and I need to take care of my family. As a matter of fact, my goal is to be able to help youth in the area. If you don't mind, I'll put that part of the faith, right? I'm not going to be able to take care of the youth in the area and help educate them on financial literacy and help provide places for them to go, and safe spaces and safe havens for them because of the fact that I didn't talk to the 10 people that I should have spoken to today. It's more than getting 100 units. It's more than making $1 million. Right? There's a t-shirt that I absolutely love and I can never get it because of the fact that I never see it in small. And it says money is good for the good it can do. It's a KW shirt. Right? Has anyone ever heard that saying before? Money is good for the good it can do? Yeah. You know where that saying came from? Yes, it's a Keller Williams shirt. No, it's not actually Gary Kelly. It's Madam C.J. Walker. Does anybody know who Madam C.J. Walker is? Yeah. Madam C.J. Walker was the first person in her family that was born free. Right? Still born on the same plantation, made $1.50 a day. Her goal was to become a millionaire. Her goal was to have the money, not for the money. Her goal was to have money so that way she could help other people get out of the rat race. She went from making $1.50 a day to becoming the first female millionaire. And then she helped support other people. What I would challenge you to do is every single time you wake up and you are starting your day, every time you're thinking about lead generator, and every time you're thinking about a bigger life and the legacy that you're looking to create for yourself and for other people around you, think about it based off of what's most important to you. We used to have this contract that we would sign in one of the classes in bold, actually, and that contract would be between you and yourself and your goals, and then also between you and your family. And that contract that you would sign would say that I'm going to talk to 20 people a day. I'm going to sell X number of houses. And then if you had children, a lot of people would say, okay, so hey, after 8 weeks, what we're going to do is I'm going to make enough money to where I'm going to be able to take you to Disney World for your birthday. Everything up here is a contract. It's a contract between you and what those goals are. If you had to go home to your family every single day and tell them that you did or didn't hit your goals, let's just say you went home today and you said, hey, just want to let you know I love you, but I didn't do what I was supposed to do today to make sure that you had everything you needed. How would that make you feel? Last story, and then we'll be out. There's a guy named Cody Gibson. Love Cody. Cody's an awesome coach. And his first year in real estate, Cody set a goal that he was going to list 10 houses a month. I think I told y'all this story about Cody. So here's a fun part about Cody. Cody got 9 houses on the last day of the month. And he was with phones, pounding the phones, could not figure out how he was going to get that 10th listing. However, he was dedicated to his goals. There was nothing that was going to stop him. What do you think he did? You can't say anything. What do you think he did? No guesses? Listed his home house. Yeah. And then after he listed his own house, he went back to lead generating so that way he could find that 10th house and take his house off the market. Yes, Cody's married. So that was not the easiest thing in the world to do, to tell your wife, hey, we're selling a house. Are you sure? No, not really. You have to find another one. Are you dedicated to your goals in such a way that you're willing to do whatever it takes? Are you dedicated to your goals in such a way that you're saying, you know what? Every single day I do this, it's not for me. It's for those around me. It's for my family. It's for my health. Right? It's for the finances. And guess what? Those finances aren't just for you. So here's what I'm going to challenge you to do. Take the stuff that you wrote down today. Continue to work on it, especially going into 2023. When you set your goals for how many contacts you're going to make a day, make sure they match up with your goals. Right? Now, this is your perfect life. Are you looking to have your perfect life all in 1 year? Probably not. However, if you're planning to do this over the next 5 years, what does it have to look like in 2023? If you're expecting your business to be able to jump up 20-25%, okay, great. What is it going to look like in 2024? What is it going to look like in 25? You have 5 minutes left. So I also would like for you to do one more thing. And we're not going to be able to do it here. On one of those papers that we have, now, what I'd like for you to do at the top, draw this here at the top. Put job in the top left. Put money, top right. The bottom 2, put whatever is most important to you. Under job, you're gonna write out a description of everything that you would do. Right, so maybe your plan is to be an investor, awesome, put that down. If your plan is to own a market center, own an office, put that down. Maybe it's to have a millionaire real estate producing team, put that down. Maybe it's to be a coach, put that down. You're just gonna list the jobs, the businesses you would like to have. Under money, what you're gonna do is, you're gonna write down how much you would plan and expect to make from each of those.
Per year or 5 years?
Per year. Yep. And then under family, all the goals that you have for your family, what that should look like. And under faith, everything you plan to do for faith. Now, you might say, okay, how do I set goals around faith? Well, for me, one of the things I love to do is my goal is to tithe $150,000 a year. Tithing is 10%, which means that I would have to have a minimum income of at least 1.5 million a year. Right? I spent a stint being homeless. I understand what that looks like. I understand how difficult it is to be able to get out of that. So another thing that I have under faith is also to be able to build a homeless shelter that allows people to get back on their feet. I put that under faith. Okay. So we're not going to spend time on this here. I would like for you to go home and think about this when you're working on your goals and setting your plan for 2023. When you're trying to figure out what is it that I'm going to track based off of these numbers. All right. Any questions? No questions. Either I was really that bad or I was okay.
That's the sound of introspection.
Well, I'm gonna be here for pretty much the rest of the day until about 2 o'clock or so. If you need, you will find me probably in this room or over in the back. So again, I'm Jared. Thank y'all for actually allowing me to be here today. And yeah, whatever you need, come see me.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take like 2 minutes and then we are gonna get started with the online presence class. Business. Assembly, we're studying their stocks. What they do at this point, with the proceeds of the sales and that's the one that help local kids in the community get, like LLC docs and things like that, for like entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs from underserved areas that would otherwise have no idea how to start a business, how to get started in a wealth building life, to set themselves up both legally and financially. So I feel like that would very much in line because you're interested in, you're passionate about. The kid was 16 when he first started the business, and luckily his mom researched like how to do these things, like how to set up an LLC and then what money we need to start a business, how to run it, but they didn't have to take that and bring that to kids whose parents don't have information about these things to help get started, or if you grow up around people who already have that knowledge, not only do you not get that knowledge, but you even know it's possible. So they're trying to bring that vision and that understanding to the community. So they're really cool. They do events all and particularly in the South Jersey area. They've been sharing them all a lot. But their mission is really cool. course. Studying never stops. Let's see, do we have our third purpose here?
She is going to be on her one IP call for 15 minutes. Should be under her time. Don't break any. We need to go to you.
We were doing about a minute or two. But everyone's stretching.
I'm sure.
I'll come. When's your next one?
I'm done with you. Every weekend I have two and then no one comes. It's kind of waste my time. I can routine the effort. Well, and
Are you
I'm
gonna pick it back up again in spring?
You're saying?
You're gonna pick it back up in spring?
They're definitely gonna, yeah. And mine were good in the fall, but nobody comes anymore. It's really cold, and I want to leave the house. On Saturday.
I mean, like when I'm like the time that I have in your people, different groups of people come from. Sort of 75 way not to allow.
Yeah, I mean, that's fun, was when I could open the garage door and open the front. I can open it.
Yeah.
For me, it's a house, actually, but otherwise. We're coming in. What's called?
Yeah, I saw that. Right. That's awesome.
It's the August that kind of.
That's true. I feel like the couple of weeks bordering Christmas is probably not a good time.
And it's sports power. The World Cup's got that, it's everybody's awesome. Yeah, also. Like.
Giving me good.
If I'm
Running you.
might be
Ready to take it off?
Saturday afternoon, I think it's not.
Fine, you know, because the property has an amazing view, and I think they need to see it at night instead of. I mean, that's fine,
Which is why we did that one.
yes.
So try it, it's really good in 4 to 6.
It's hard to get started.
I was just gonna say like champion cookies.
So for those of you who don't know us, which is impossible because we're here literally all the time. But I'm JP, John Paul. I'm the assistant team leader and Zack trainer here. This is Zack. He is your director of agent services. So if you are a member of our brokerage, you have almost certainly talked to Zack because no one else has the patience for the logistics that he does. So but he also handles our social media accounts and creating all the graphics that you see posted in the KW Philadelphia page. Zack is awesome when it comes to, you know, the artistic eye and keeping consistent with, you know, our messaging and branding and things like that. So, you know, we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But the reason that we wanted to teach this class, part of what I do is, you know, looking for other agents that would be a good fit for the brokerage, bringing them in. And as I'm searching, you know, I'm searching these different agents' names, and I'm seeing how few of them I can find right away. You know, if I search a real estate agent's name and it takes me 10 minutes to find any actual information about them, how's a client supposed to find that information? How is that person supposed to generate business organically if it takes work to find out more about them and their business? So we thought this would be a good opportunity to just help you guys even just get the basic principles of how to make sure that you can be found, your information can be found, and do it in such a way that, you know, makes it appealing for people to want to reach out to you and work with you. So why is online presence so important? Those of you who were here for the last class, you know, heard me talk a little bit about the credibility and trust aspects. And online presence is huge for credibility. It's my last bullet point, but it is really the overarching theme of this is that when it comes to your online presence, perception is everything. When I look for an agent and I see, you know, their Instagram account has, you know, a post every day, and their Facebook page has all of these open houses that they're sitting, and they have a professional website, and they have a bio of, you know, everything tells me this person is doing well with their business. You know, this person has a booming business that if I don't have data to see exactly what their numbers are, my assumption is going to be this person's selling a lot of houses. And as a client, when you are choosing a real estate agent that you want to work with, you want to work with someone who's good at what they do. If you have no online presence, maybe they, you know, maybe you handed someone a business card at Starbucks, they go home and they search you up. They can't find your face, first of all. They can't find a website. They can't find, you know, anything about your real estate business at all. You could be $100 million producer. If they can't find any evidence that says this person is in real estate, the assumption is going to be that you're not very good at what you do.
I think that there's an important point within JP's point as well, which is that so long as you build a presence for yourself online and you give the air that you are a top producer, you could never sell a home. You could have never sold a home. Somebody will take credibility from what you've put online. So to JP's point, if they can't find your name out there, they're not going to know that you're in the business. If you're out there consistently and your name is across different platforms, they don't know the difference as to whether you're a top producer or you're even a good real estate agent. The point is they saw that you're there and you're a real estate agent, and they're that much more likely to choose you.
It's the digital version of dressing for the job you want. Like, you are showing up to your online presence in a suit and tie, like you are showing up ready to work, and it makes a huge difference. You know, to that end, can people find you if they search for you? You know, when you hand someone a business card, when one of your past clients, you know, gives your name out to somebody, most of the time, they're not just automatically going to be working with you. They're not just, you know, calling you up and saying, all right, let's go. You know, you're in line at Starbucks, you start up a conversation about real estate, you give them a business card, you part ways. Odds are that person's going home and searching your name. They're trying to find out more information about you, because that 10-minute conversation or whatever it is isn't necessarily enough for them to feel like you have enough trust and credibility built with them in order to trust you with what is going to be one of the largest and most important purchases or sales that they ever take part of in their life. So you can hand out business cards all the live long day. You can sit as many open houses as you want to bolster and reinforce the work that you're putting in when you're having these conversations and making these connections. you want to make sure that your online presence matches your in-person interactions with them, you know, in terms of building that trust and credibility. Do you appear professional? Do you have reviews? It cannot be overstated how seriously people take reviews in every avenue of business. I managed a retail store for better part of a decade, and there was such a big focus on getting your customers to leave a review, because there were absolutely numerous times where customers would come in, would make a purchase with us, and when we asked them about what brought them in, they would say, you know, I searched for the appliance that I already knew I wanted, and you know, I saw who carried it, and you guys had the best reviews. You know, I had salespeople that got business walk in the door because they saw, oh, Zack has all these people raving about the experience they had with them. I'm gonna go in and ask for Zack because I want that same experience. When someone searches for you and they see that there is consistent positive feedback about the way that you treat your clients, about your knowledge, about your professionalism, you know, that inspires a lot of confidence in someone that, yes, I want to work with the person who's going to make me feel like these people feel. The other side of it too is, can people find you without searching for you? And are you giving people a reason to contact you? When you search for real estate agent in Philadelphia, when you search for, you know, Keller Williams, even if you search for a specific real estate agent's name, the way that Google works is it will pull up, you know, in the normal list, it'll start to pull up the results that match the search terms that you put in, but it'll also a lot of times pull up recommendations based on your search terms. So I've had instances where I searched a specific agent's name and Google off to the side pulled up, here are other real estate agents and real estate offices in the area that you're searching in. And those people didn't do anything to make it so that they would come across my screen.
They did do one thing.
They have an online presence.
That's a,
It is really, if you don't have an online presence set up, you are cutting off an opportunity for business to find you. I did some research, you know, with the NAR statistics that they pulled for this past year, and the top 3 tech tools that provide realtors with quality leads, according to their research, are social media, your CRM, so your database day is January 3rd, starting at 10 a.m. And MLS sites. And we're going to touch on social media and the MLS sites today.
all right, so I was debating how I wanted to approach this when I was thinking about doing this class. And the debate for me was between showing you guys how to set up these profiles versus telling you why you should have them. And since you're all real estate agents, that means that you're entrepreneurs. So you could very easily Google how to create a Google business profile. I'm not going to go through that and bore you with all of the details on how to create it. What I am going to do is tell you why you need it. A Google business profile, in my opinion, is the single most effective tool to lend yourself credibility as a business. It helps ensure that people find your business when they're looking for the service that you provide. If you don't have a Google business profile, the chances of you coming up in a search when somebody looks up realtors near me, very slim, very, very slim. It also shows people how to get in contact with you. You'll see in a few moments, I'm going to show you some examples of profiles. There's a call button right there. There's a message button right there. They could get in contact with you immediately. I personally know from experience, my dad runs a small used car dealership, independent. I still have his Google profile on my phone. I still get messages pretty much every day through Google about people who want to buy a vehicle. It's organic business. I haven't updated that Google business profile in a year and a half, 2 years, and there's still people coming inquiring about the services that we provide. It improves your local SEO. So SEO is search engine optimization. Essentially, what this means is if you have a Google business profile, the chances of you coming up in a search are exponentially higher than if you don't have that profile. Getting your name out there more and more times on the internet will just increase your chances of coming up in a search.
If this is a good place to pause, Cassandra asked in the chat about having, a direct line or a Google Voice line, and really it depends on your personal preference. I have spoken to people who rave about their Google Voice line. I've spoken to people who absolutely will never go back to using one. I'm actually at a point where I'm like getting rid of my work number and just going to start running everything through personal, just because I find that easier. And there were some limitations with the Google Voice number, that I had some issues with. But what I would say is it's free to have a Google Voice number. Try it out, see if it works for you and works for your business. You can always scrap it and move on. And honestly, when people are worried like, oh, well, all these people have my number and what if they can't get in touch with me? One, if you decide you're going to move on from using a Google Voice number or something like that, keep it active for a couple months after you stop promoting it so that any of those people can still trickle into you. But also, you have a golden opportunity to reach out to everyone in your database and have that communication point with them, where you could say, hey, just want to let you know I'm changing my number. Here's my new contact information. By the way, how are things with you? How's your house doing? I know your lease is coming, is ending soon. Are you going to look to continue renting? Or are you looking to buy? Like, it's an organic reason to reach out to them and start that conversation.
So my opinion on the Google Voice number is if you're going to have it forward to your phone so that you get all of the calls that are coming through and all the messages, then do it. If you're going to have it set up so that people just call the number and they have to leave a message, or they send a message and you have to go in and periodically check, I don't think that it's worth it. You're going to miss out on business by not getting those calls immediately. Good.
I use WhatsApp, and I get calls and messages through that. What is your feeling on that, Amy?
The same thing, really. I mean, so long as you're picking up, it doesn't really matter what you're using. I guess at that point, though, I debate what the point of having that is, other than, you don't want somebody to have your real number.
When you visit your website, your site, they can just click on it and contact you right away. Yeah,
that's really nice. I guess the debate is really between, do you want your personal number to be publicized or not?
Right.
In my opinion, you're running a business, so you should have your number out there. People should be able to contact you, but that's really up to you. I think the most important thing, though, is the timeliness of your responses. So, if somebody's looking people up on Google to find a real estate agent, they're not just looking at you. They're looking at multiple people. They're comparing, they're contrasting. If they call you and you don't pick up the phone, you're probably going to lose that business.
Yeah, odds are.
Exactly.
Yeah, the first person that picks up the phone and talks to them, odds are they're getting that business. It's very similar to, how the vast majority of people, only interview one real estate agent before transacting with a real estate agent. A lot of the time, it's just the first person who got them into a conversation. So pick up your phone, is the gist.
We're back to reviews here. Extremely important, and Google reviews, I would say, hold the most weight.
Oh, yeah.
Out of any reviews online. It's the gold standard for reviews in an online platform. So every time you have a customer, going back to my dad's car dealership, he asks every single person that purchases a vehicle from him to leave him a Google review, and they do, to the point where he has thousands of reviews, more than even the big new car dealerships that make millions and millions of dollars that he could never compete. If you're looking at a used vehicle and he has something similar to that new car dealership, those reviews make a huge difference in who that client is going to choose.
You're also protecting yourself if you are making a conscious effort to build up positive reviews. I used to preach this all the time to my salespeople at the store. You are much more likely to leave a review for something if you have a negative experience than if you have a positive one. People want to talk about when they're upset. They don't always, want to put in the effort of leaving a review if they had a great experience, but they're almost always willing to if you ask. So if you have 1,000 positive reviews because you asked every time, then when that one person that you just didn't get along with, that was unreasonable but doesn't see it that way, when that person leaves you a bad review, it is not as damaging because you have 1,000 positive reviews to offset it. And we're all going to have that one person that we don't get along with. We're all going to have that one client that is completely outside their mind, but can't be convinced otherwise. So protect yourself from those instances by making a purposeful effort to show what the majority of your client experiences is actually truly like.
Also, to that point, on a Google business profile, you're able to hide any review that you don't want on your profile. So take that into consideration. If somebody is crazy and they end up giving you a bad review that has no merit, you can just hide that from the profile. You don't have to worry about that negatively impacting.
You can't do that until you know it's there.
This is true.
And you never know who sees it in between when it gets left and when you know about it.
Very true. Final point here. In terms of search engines, Google has 86.6% of the worldwide market share. So what does that tell you? Almost 90% of people in the world use Google as their search engine. That's why it lends credibility if you have a Google business profile.
Do you have any tips for getting people to actually write the review? I ask my clients to write a review. Most of the time, I actually have had nobody actually do it. So do you guys offer feedback? What do you do? How do you get them to do it?
You could offer an incentive, but to me, the biggest incentive is to be the best agent you can be, and then hope that that person enjoyed your services enough that they do leave a review.
Well, I'll tell you, again, I did this for years running a store. The most effective way that we found to get people to leave the reviews and know that they left them, because most of the people that you ask to leave a review who don't end up leaving a review, it's not because they didn't like you. It's not because they, are maliciously trying to go against you. They just forgot. So the most useful thing that you can do, say, hey, do me a favor, pull out your phone. If you leave me a Google review, it helps a lot. You can either pull it up on their phone, get them to the page where they leave the review, or you can say, I'm going to send you a link and then I'm going to walk you through it, and they can do it on their phone, but you physically walk them through it. If they go home, there's a good to fair chance that they're just going to forget to do it. And it doesn't mean as much to them as it does to you. So it's not going to be something that they, think about 3 days later and go, oh, you know what, I have to jump on that right now. Just do it with them.
You could also do something along the lines of like an email after like a standardized email with a graphic saying, give me a Google review with a link.
Right.
After you're done working with that client. It's a little thing. I think JP's right, like saying, hey, since we're sitting here, do you mind just pulling out your phone and giving me a quick Google review? But yeah, great point, JP.
Well, and without being, you don't want to be whiny and beg for it, but just try to clearly convey, this means a lot to me. Like, it's a very simple thing that you do, but it can have a huge impact on my business. And if you convey that appropriately, a client that you gave a really good experience to is going to want to do that for you.
Quick question for you guys. Do any of you offer your clients any sort of incentive to refer other people to you? It might be an idea, giving them that incentive that someday down the road, if they enjoyed their experience with you, and there's the potential for them to get $100 for referring a client to you, it may give them the incentive to leave you a review. I don't recommend directly like monetarily incentivizing reviews.
There's a gift card in it for you.
Yes, I don't recommend that, but I do recommend incentivizing loyalty. And through loyalty, they will have the incentive to give you a review.
And there's opportunity for quid pro quo as well. If you know that your client owns a business, runs a business, is a salesperson in a different avenue of business, you know. Let them know that you're gonna send people their way. You know, we have an agent on the Summers team who owns a restaurant. And, you know, the Summers team had their holiday party, you know, and the rest of the food was amazing. Like Red Crest Kitchen, just off South Street, go, it's phenomenal. But like the moment I left there, like I posted about it on social media. But you probably have clients that if you talk to them, you'll learn like, oh, I didn't realize that you had a restaurant or a food truck or, you know, whatever their business is. Hey, let me check it out. Let me send some people your way. Go have dinner at their restaurant and then say, hey, I'm gonna leave you a Google review. You know, everything was fantastic. Do you mind doing the same for me? Like, just, you know, we're not holding it hostage. We're not saying like, all right, I'm gonna do it for you if you do it for me. But like making sure that they know that your business relationship is reciprocal can be helpful. Robin.
I think there are natural inflection points where it makes sense, right? If you just come out, call the blue and ask for a review, it's weird, but we found a lot of success waiting for a compliment, right? Oh my God, thank you guys so much for doing that. Perfect time to say, oh, while you're in a good mood,
Yes,
here's the link for our review.
Yeah.
I think that there are some natural inflection points where it makes a lot of sense to ask for reviews, but in every good deal that we have that goes well, there's at least three, right? Times you finish with inspection and you negotiated it well, or you just got under contract, it's another great time to do it. Because some like there are good inflection points.
definitely.
Yeah, and there are also good opportunities at moments that you provide value. So, you know, I know a lot of agents will do it after the sale closes, and they'll incorporate it into like a congratulations on closing email. Well, they'll say, you know, congratulations on closing as a closing gift. You know, I've included here an e-gift card to, you know, XYZ restaurant. You know, here's a copy of your signed settlement docs, a digital copy for you to have. And also, if you wouldn't mind, this is something that's really important to me. You know, when you are incorporating it with providing them with some sort of value, that you should find good results with as well.
Definitely. So, how do you even get to a Google business profile? How do you create your own? From your Google homepage, when you're logged in, preferably under your KW account, you'll just go to that business icon right there. And when you click that, it'll take you to this page. It gets a little confusing right here. That's why I'm showing you guys these beginning stages. So it's going to ask you to manage. Obviously, we don't have a page yet. So you're just going to hit sign in and it'll take you to this. If you don't have a business on Google already, hit add your business to Google. It's going to ask you for some basic information just to get the profile started. And you'll end up with something like this. Now, this is what it looks like when I go in to manage the brokerage's Google business profile. Google kind of changed this around recently. I'm not really a fan of how it looks these days, but this is kind of your workflow, right? This is how you're going to manage your Google business page. So you can see here the basic information. We have the Keller Williams Philadelphia Center City. There's photos of the brokerage. We have the location on the map. If you click on that, it takes you to Google Maps. People can get directions there. Other basic information, how to contact us, directions, and a link to our website. Google will give you a bunch of suggestions on different things that you can do for your profile. You can run ads, and yeah, Google gives you a bunch of options on how to drum up business. Go to the next slide. So I just want to point out something to you guys real quick, which is compliance with your Google business profile. This is a big deal. At least it is for our broker and for you complying with laws.
And if you get sued, it's a big deal for you too.
Yes. So a very, very, very important thing to have in your Google business profile is that you're an agent with Keller Williams Philadelphia. That's the number one thing. If you don't specify what brokerage you're with, you're out of compliance. Another thing you need to have on there is our address, right? So our office address, 1619 Walnut Street. So I pulled up 2 different agents with us. I pulled up their profiles. Unfortunately, Juliana's is the one I'm using as the bad example, but looks like she just hasn't updated it. So that's the address for her old brokerage. She doesn't have KW Philadelphia in there. She also doesn't have a photo of herself. I think that's a huge thing, is putting your face out there so that people can link that with your name. But other than that, extremely, extremely important that you have the brokerage's name on your profile and the brokerage's address. And that goes for any profile that you have, really. If you're advertising yourself as a business and as an agent, you need to have those things on the profile. One quick thing I want to point out, you can put your listings on Google as your products. So if you want to do a little bit of extra work and have it so that when people search for you, you're also linked with those listings, throw them on there.
Can we put other people's listings just as long as we give them credit and courtesy of?
A little bit of a gray area.
Yeah, I mean, so. I am no lawyer. But generally speaking, it's better to exclusively have your listing so there is no confusion. Because there is a whole bunch of discussion about, well, if you do it with their permission, if you give appropriate, at the end of the day, the real estate commission is designed to protect the public, not the agent. So if there's any way in which the public can be misled and get confused about who is and is not a broker and who is and is not representing that property and that client, odds are you're not going to be the one ending up favorably in that situation.
It may not be explicitly illegal, but it's not explicitly illegal either. So I would steer clear of putting other people's listings. But that being said, putting old listings of yours on there, like it's not current, you went to close, putting it on there, not so bad. Next, please. So the next business profile that I think that you should have online is a Facebook post. To me, in today's world, it isn't as important as the Google business profile. That being said, there's still a market there for you to leverage. And there's one important aspect of Facebook that Google doesn't exactly have, and that's targeted ads. So Facebook gives you the opportunity to engage with your current potential clients, even past clients. You can leave reviews on a Facebook page as well. But the most important thing, like I said about Facebook, is that you can advertise to clients in a very, very targeted way. Now, there's a caveat with that. If you're advertising something that's associated with lending, right? So if you're saying that you're advertising a particular property, you have to select that it's a special ad category, which limits the amount of interests that you can select to advertise to, because you can't discriminate.
If you are running your Facebook ads through command, which requires a Facebook business page, it makes it almost impossible for you to mess up in this way. The laws pertaining to advertising around housing are very, very strict, and they are very, very restrictive. So, again, like he said, you can't target based on certain things if your ad is pertaining to housing. And if you try to run a real estate ad of basically any type and don't pick housing when you are creating it in the back end of Facebook Meta at all, they will reject your ad and you will have wasted your time. If you do it through command, it automatically tags it as housing. It'll automatically limit the different things that you can target so that you don't have the option really to select something that's gonna have your ad get rejected?
More reviews, obviously, the more reviews you have online, even if they're in disparate places, the better for you. And then finally, Facebook has 2.91 billion active users.
Still the second most trafficked website in the world.
It is, yeah, in a lot of other countries, the internet and Facebook are synonymous. People use Facebook like they use Google elsewhere. That doesn't change if somebody immigrates to the United States, you know, those habits are going to stay with them. It just opens you up to that many more potential clients. Setting up a Facebook business profile is even more complicated than Google. I would say Google's pretty simple, Facebook is not. But from your homepage on Facebook, you'll go to see all on the left-hand side. And then it'll come up with this drop down there. You have two options here. You can either click pages and you'll be able to create one from there, or under create, you can go to page as well. And this is what comes up. So it immediately takes you right in to building out your Facebook business page. I kind of did a little bit of sample here, but it gives you the option to put in your name, gives you a category, and then a brief description of yourself. I didn't get to the address part yet, but you can see that I put myself as Zack, Porrini, Keller Williams, Philadelphia. Very, very important. And then in terms of the description, this is also going to help with your SEO. Any sort of keywords surrounding real estate that are linked to your name on the internet are only going to serve to bump you up in search results. So Philadelphia and surrounding counties, dream home. Both of those keywords that are going to bring me up higher in search results. Final thing for me, guys. In terms of running Facebook ads, it's not easy. I'm just going to come out and say it flat out. It's not easy. It's very complicated. It's why people pay hundreds of dollars to services to do this kind of stuff for them. SEO and Facebook ads take a little bit of practice. But luckily for you, you're at Keller Williams. We have classes on everything. And as you can see right here on the calendar for Monday, January 16th, Scott Leroy Marketing, our tech partner, is hosting a Facebook Ads 101 class. Not only will this show you how to do Facebook ads, it'll show you how to do them through command, which is very important. I think that you should be using the tools that you're paying for with Keller Williams. Command is an all-in-one suite where you can run all of these things out of. And you have the opportunity to learn about it included right here.
It also, you know, I'm maybe biased as your tech trainer. Command makes it so much easier to run Facebook ads than if you were doing it through the back end. If you ran an ad through the back end of Facebook, you're probably looking at like 30 to 45 minutes to get it set up, you know, even if you're barely practiced with it. I can get a Facebook ad up and running through command, you know, within 5-10 minutes. You know, it links directly to the MLS. So it's going to pull your photos and videos from the MLS. You know, like I said, it's going to clean up a lot of the options that you should not select because you are running a housing advertisement. You know, it makes the process so much smoother and more seamless. I am also always happy to sit down with you, take a look at the ad that you're getting ready to run, and kind of give you feedback on, you know, hey, you should try doing it this way, or hey, you should try doing this. You know, you do not have to have a degree in marketing or be an advertising guru to run an effective ad. There are just little tips and tricks that'll help you, like doing a photo carousel is going to be more engaging than doing a single photo. Putting line breaks so that when your ad runs, it starts your text and then gives a see more option that people have to click to expand the rest of the text. Statistically speaking, the learn more button is the most clicked button on an ad versus any other label that you could slap on that button. Just little tips that will ever so slightly increase the lead generation and engagement from your ads. But
one last point just kind of a little bit off topic. There's still classes going on other than what we're hosting on Education Day. They're not hosted by us at Keller Williams Philadelphia, but they are hosted by the KW Greater PA region and by Scott Leroy Marketing. Check the training calendar. There's a lot of really valuable stuff here that I don't want you guys to miss out on. So definitely keep an eye on that.
And if
Especially
you ever want to see a training that you don't see on the calendar, bring it up to one of us.
definitely, and especially if you're looking for like more niche stuff, like how to run a Facebook ad through command, you can find it here on the training.
Hey, setting up an Instagram business profile with Juliana Gainsburg.
So do you know how to show them how to do that?
Pull up Instagram, please.
I can pull up Instagram, please.
I'm not the tech person on how to set it up, I'm just how to do it well once you have it.
By show of hands, who here has an Instagram profile? Who here posts about their business on their Instagram profile? Okay, all right.
Do you know you're logging in though?
Might. That should be good.
So while we're getting this set up, one interesting point for you guys. And I don't know if all of you know this, but Facebook and Instagram are owned by the same parent company, Meta. So anything that you post on either one of those platforms, there's actually, you can link your accounts from Facebook. And there's a little tab that you can click to cross-share those posts across both platforms. So double the effectiveness, half the work. I do that with our profiles with the brokerage. I usually post to Instagram first, just because I like to see the layout there a little better than I like on Facebook. But then I always click share to Facebook. It's just a really great way to stack your content. You don't. Sometimes it does behoove you to put different things on both profiles, but in my experience, your audience is a little bit different on those two profiles. Instagram skews a little bit younger. I'd say there are probably in the demographic that you're looking to sell to, there are probably more people on Instagram. But Facebook still serves a purpose. Lots of aunts and grandmothers, commenting and hyping you up. So definitely make sure that you are cross-posting your content on both of those platforms.
Let's do it.
I think you're already in a business account.
I know, I was just seeing if there was a button that shows you how to switch it. So basically in your settings, you can, it'll have a section down here that you can switch it to a business account. Now, if you were to switch your account to a quote unquote business account and you didn't want to do it like that anymore for whatever reason, it doesn't change anything, like, doesn't delete anything, it doesn't make anything different, you can always go back and forth. But just to give you an example. So on the public facing one, it has, like, if you were a follower and you weren't logged in, it would have a contact button here. And a more informational button, and that's only if you have a business account. If you're a personal account, it's just like if it's a personal profile. And so I like the business version because one, I have my business profile says what I am, and it also allows you to contact me. There's some more analytics that you get with it, so you can see like more of like who's watching what or what they're doing. Now, if you notice, some of it's personal, some of it's business, and I kind of like mix it all in. And I've just kind of created one account, even though it's a business profile, it's used for both. Now, how many of you have been in one of my classes before? I feel like the majority have. Okay. So what we're going to talk about today for the last 10 minutes here is just kind of like the setup here, because I know even though now I know you have yours looks pretty good. Robin, I don't know if you ever updated what you did.
He's
He's got this.
He's working. I tried it and stuff, he doesn't answer. So this is really important here, and I actually have more in my bio than I ever have. And I don't know exactly how I feel about it, and you know, I change it up from time to time, but this section, when someone clicks on your profile, is one of the most important things because they need to know the information they need to know immediately. So I always advise, if you are a real estate agent in Philadelphia, then you should be putting where you service immediately. I used to have it as Juliana, Gainsburg, servicing Bucks County and Philadelphia. I recently changed it because my focus personally isn't just selling real estate anymore, and I also want people to just come to me no matter what. Like, I don't really focus on just Philadelphia anymore. I'm like big on sending out referrals. So I want people to just see the real estate and just come to me and just ask me a question and find out. But that's kind of an angle that I've been testing, and I've been like taking it that route. I don't know that that necessarily works. But just putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, like if I was somebody else and I was scrolling and I saw, you know, I posted this like home tour or something like this down here. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if she works in Philadelphia, or I wonder if that's like her, whatever it is. And they click on my profile and then they see it immediately. That's like checking off a question they have in their mind, right? So you want them to know whatever it is that you're trying to put out there, you want them to be able to find that out immediately. If your motivation is to sell real estate in Philadelphia, then that should be the first thing that's on there. And then the other side of that is I'm big on KW Young Professionals, so I always have that in there. So I want people to be aware of that. And I recently started doing a podcast, so I just added that in there like last night. But before that, it was just Gainsburg Group in Florida. That's it. Linktree, super important. My biggest. If you get anything from today, this is what I would.
I think that,
So I have this in my, can I move this? So I have this in my bio here. Now, if you edit your profile, it gives you the option, I guess it's the website link, it doesn't let you do it right here for some reason, but on your phone, I'll see different. And you just can copy and paste a link in there, so. When I click on my link, it brings me here, and this is basically like a landing page. So if you go to linktree.com, you can create it. It's super user friendly. I suggest doing it on the computer though, not on your phone, it's just easier to do. And so I keep everything here that I want people to know when they search or look at my profile. This is one of my lenders' link to get pre-approved. So when you click this, they can start the pre-approval process. This is the KW app. So if they're trying to start their home search and they click this, they're gonna fill out, it's gonna take them right to the app store, and whether they're Android or iPhone, it'll prompt them to do that. And once they do that, they'll have to create an account, and their stuff will go right to my command database because it's connected. A podcast link. I have an Airbnb, so that's here. TikTok. I did my virtual business card thing, and then my Amazon list. So like this could look like whatever you want it to look like. Commonly, you're going to use it to be a local expert. So whatever it is that you're focused on, maybe you have an open house coming up this week, that's probably going to be your top one. Or like if you have a new listing, 123 Main Street should be the first link on there. And you can do that with like however you're marketing your listings, whether it's a command landing page or HomeSnap or Zillow or whatever, you know, your preferred thing is. But this just holds, it can hold so much information.
Value, providing value. It's really.
And it's very quickly, right? So like, if somebody clicks on my page because they watched my story, I don't know what my story is. Okay, let's just say they wanted to watch my podcast. And this like can be dubbed into whatever it is, but let's just say they see my story and I wrote on here, like, click the link in my bio to listen to my podcast. Then they would go to my bio and click it, and maybe they find other stuff that they want to look at. Maybe they want to take a trip to Florida, and now I can get them to book a stay at my rental, you know, like it's just kind of keeping people on your profile and giving them the information that they want as quick as possible. But yeah, a lot of agents that I've helped with their social media just use that as a spot to easily get people information about the listings that they have, or their client events, or things that are going on locally in their area, or maybe, you know, your lender put out a nice blog about different things that are happening with your rate, what rate's going on, and maybe you put that there. I mean, if you don't have something to talk about in your story, maybe you can find something to have in your link tree, and then you lean on that to make up more content. So the link tree for me, it's free. There is a paid version, but I don't use it. You can get it's more than enough with just that. I actually don't even know what the max is as far as links.
You can just keep going.
Yeah, I've never hit a max. I think I've had like 7 or 8 on there at a time. So I don't think you need more than that. I like to kind of be purposeful with it. And it's also easy to interchange them. So like, if you have a listing, once you your main tree, you list it, it goes on the contract, it's sold. You want to take it off there, it's easy to just delete them out and put something else in. Sometimes I'll have the links for people to register as a KWIP member. And sometimes I just turn it off and it's just not on there. And then when I want to put it back on there, I want to use it, I don't just switch it on.
Jewel, do me a favor, go to the brokerages page real quick. On Instagram. So, I don't know if you guys know this, but we also use it as a link tree for the brokerages page. You could have signed up for education day today, 3 days.
This is also how I find his coffee with Chris.
There you go. Your coffee with Chris is on. Any events that we're having, any big events that require a sign up are always going to be on this link tree. You can even sign up to get Helk here as an agent.
So like imagine recreating something like this. That is like geared to your perfect client. Or like your audience, right? Like, maybe you want to put in, maybe there's like an event happening this week for the holidays, something at Dilworth Park, or like. Whatever it is, or maybe you're going to something with your family or your girlfriend, or you have whatever's happening.
So
You could drop it here and just be like, hey, like, I'm doing this in our city this weekend. If you want information about it, I put it in my bio, and then they like.
the biggest reason that I have this link tree in here is actually not convenience. While I think that it's convenient, most of you don't even look. Why I put this here is to show agents and other brokerages the value that we're offering our agents. This is forward facing. It's there for anybody who clicks on our profile to see. And if somebody's doing a little bit of snooping and being like, what's clean up in Philadelphia all about, they're probably going to end up here. Think of that like you should be thinking of your clients. They're looking at agents across profiles. If they're on social media looking at real estate agents, they're not just looking at you. But if you were able to provide them some sort of value in that brief second that they clicked on your profile, they're more likely to choose you as their agent. Just like somebody looking at our profile might be more likely to choose us as their brokerage if we provided that some sort of value.
Honestly, this or something equivalent, like if you're not using command, but you are using the CRM that allows you to like make a landing page or an intake form, or even if you just go Google Drive and make a Google form that goes into a spreadsheet, like this is the best way to kind of leverage your social media and push people to give you the information easily. This automatically goes in the database, so I don't have to even worry about missing their contact info, but if you take anything from making this, I would have this in there and like maybe yours, if you use Zillow, like maybe your link to the testimonials in here. And then anything else you can provide as value. I always just think it looks better when you have this instead of just one link. You can just provide more information. But
Find forever home, was that go to your website?
dive into the KW. If they click that, it goes to this. And when they sign up, it will be branded to me, so I will already be their agent, and when they start looking at properties, my name is at the bottom, and if they want to request a tour, it comes to me. And their information when they create accounts goes right to command, and it shows me when they're searching. So, kind of just like.
Which leads really nicely into the last little thing we're going to talk about, which is setting up your free IDX website through command. Now, for those of you who don't know, an IDX website is basically just a website that people can use to search for something. So in this case, use it to search for homes connected to the MLS. So there's just a couple basic things that I want to go over with you. You know, if anyone wants help setting up their website, I'm more than happy to set aside time to do that. But there are a couple basic things that if you do them right off the bat, you're gonna set yourself up for success. The first and most important thing is to set up your marketing profile and command appropriately. So if you go to your settings, go to connect settings and go to marketing profile. There's a little slider right up at the top that says use my information to brand my agent site. You want to make sure that that is green and turned on, because then your agent site is going to have all of the information that you put into this marketing profile. So you want to make sure you upload your headshot. Your headshot should be square. If it is rectangular, it will format weirdly and it'll squish it. You'll put in your bio, your contact information, the links to your social media accounts, things like that. And then all of that will port right over to your IDX site. You also want to know how to create a couple basic pages. So when you go to the consumer tab in command, right up in the top corner, there will be a button to create a page. And you'll pick if you want to do a landing page or on your agent's site. When you pick on your agent's site, you get to this screen where you'll have all these widgets on the side, and you can basically choose like, all right, I want this page to be the About Me page, and you just drag over agent profile, and it will automatically pull your headshot, it'll automatically pull your name, your title, your bio, all of the things that you already put into your marketing profile through command. You can also do testimonial capture form pages. You could do a contact capture form page. And there are a ton of different things that you can do. But once you do them, it's very important to clean up your URL and your URL slugs. Now, your URL is obviously the URL that people can type in to find your site. So, you know, Juliana had her app URL that you can also find in the settings here, that she connected to her link tree. But URL slugs, when you go to a website and you go to a page on that website, it'll have the website URL and then a little tag at the end of it. That's called your URL slug, and it's for that specific page. So instead of, you know, John Paul Helk at, .kw.com, it'll be johnpaulhelk.kw.com/about-us. You know, and if you keep those slugs clean, it makes it easier for people to find those pages when they're searching for things. You also have an SEO description there, where, you know, maybe you made a page for your featured listings, or made a page for, you know, your Eventbrite that you run events for your clients. Whatever that page is for, you have the ability to put in an SEO description. Again, all for the sake of making it easier for people to find when they're searching on pages like Google.
Keywords.
Yes. Yeah, you don't want to
Keywords
put.
related to real estate.
You don't want to put a big written out paragraph about what this page is. You want to put in just the SEO keywords like dream home, like luxury, like Philadelphia, things that if people were searching on Google, you would want those search terms to bring them to this page.
You guys all know that you get a free website through Keller Williams, right? A free personalized website. Yeah, that's a huge thing that I don't think there's enough people know about.
Yeah.
This is great.
Again, so I did some research into NAR statistics. 84% of home buyers in 2022 describe agent contact info on home search websites as useful or very useful. And all generations except for the quote unquote silent generation, which I think is 70 and above, every other age group was most likely to have found the home they ultimately purchased online versus first seeing it through their real estate agent. So like, obviously you're doing your best work to, you know, pull homes that you think your client would like. But if you give them this tool, if you give them your agent website that is branded to you and directly connects with your database and say, use this to look up homes, statistics show most of the time, that's how they're going to find the home that they ultimately end up purchasing. And if it is on the site that's branded to you and connected to you in every conceivable way, they're gonna buy that home with you. Only 69% of real estate agents nationwide have a website, which, considering everything else that the statistics tell us, is wild. So do yourself a favor, be one of the 69% that have and utilize a website.
You know what percentage of KW agents have a personalized website?
I do not.
100.
Well,
All of your agents.
I thought you were gonna tell me the percentage that use them, yeah.
Yeah.
So the last thing is you set up your online presence. You set up your Google profile, you set up your Facebook profile, you set up your Instagram page, your website. Maintain it. Do things that we already talked about, like asking for reviews. A big one, ask your clients to tag you in photos. Just about every single real estate transaction closing that I have ever seen or been near or been a part of, they end up taking a photo. You're like, hey, we closed. Go Abstract takes photos of basically every closing that they have. Ask your clients, when you post this, tag me in it. It's as good as a review or a recommendation in terms of getting your name out there. Like, look how happy these people are with their closed transaction, and they tag this real estate agent. They must have had a good experience. Let me reach out to this person. It also will organically build your social media presence, because all of a sudden you have all of these photos that you're tagged in. Posting regularly is very important for the algorithms that Facebook, Instagram, Meta use. And I get that not everyone feels creative every single day, and it can be difficult to feel motivated to post every single day. But again, if you're a KW agent, you have Command, which has a post scheduler in there. So if you're feeling real jazzed up about posting on Facebook, all right, make 20 posts and you can go into Command and schedule them out for the next 2 to 3 weeks.
This is huge. So some of you came to social media club back when we were doing that. And in one of the classes, I talked about getting a post schedule. And I said exactly what JP just said. You can take one day to make your content for the whole week or the next 2 weeks and schedule it all out. Since then, Command has introduced their own post scheduler. So you no longer need to go out and get a third-party application to do this. You can integrate your Facebook and Instagram and Twitter accounts. I don't know of many realtors that use Twitter, but you can integrate those 3 into your Command profile and post directly from there. You can schedule posts out weeks in advance. You can even create the posts directly in Command through designs.
Which I can help you with. Here's just a little bit about the types of things to post. And again, the algorithms are very complex and they're constantly changing, and there are thousands of articles and videos about how to be the best social media personality you can possibly be. And we're not going to get into all that, but we are going to give you some really basic tips that have held pretty consistent, that are more based around psychology than they are the algorithms. And one of those post faces. People are more engaged when they see images or videos of people. If there's a human element to it, it's more attractive than words on a screen. Post things of value. We talked about the credibility aspect and we talked about the trust aspect. If you're posting things of value and you're posting things that show your personality, again, if any of you were in the last class, Christy, we kind of talked about not posting and not, having your conversations be 95% real estate related. You want to provide useful information, maybe about the market, maybe about, home prices, or, interest rates came down or what have you. But you also, you saw Juliana's Instagram. You also want things that humanize you. You want things that make people relate to you and trust you. Post a picture with a dog. People love dogs. Someone's gonna go on your Facebook, be like, that person loves dogs. I love dogs. I trust this person a little bit more now. And they don't usually say that explicitly out loud, that's a little weird, but in their head, that is the underlying subtext of, you know, what is going on in the way that they feel about the page they're seeing. Know how to share links to your social media, your website, you know, to your online presence. You know, create yourself a link tree. Create a QR code for your stuff and keep it on your phone. You can basically search free QR code generator, and there are 1,000 of them that'll pop up. You put in the URL that you want the QR code to direct to, and then you can just save that QR code. Again, have it in a note on your phone, have it in photos on your phone, put it on the home screen of your phone. Talking to someone in line at Starbucks, here, scan this QR code, it'll take you to my contact info, what have you. And there are, you know, Link, Popple, a whole bunch of different digital business card platforms that will allow you to incorporate that into your digital business card as well. So just know how to direct people to your online presence, again, because it helps build your credibility. You know, you have that conversation in line at Starbucks. How much more impressive is it if they can pull up all of these different things about you and your business versus just handing them a business card and hoping that they contact you someday?
I see a lot of, I mean, not just real estate agents, but just a lot of people in general. You know, they post something on Instagram and then in the caption, they put a link, something. You can't click that link. Somebody would have to go on their computer to copy and paste that, because you can't copy it directly in the Instagram app. To search for that link. You're much better off saying link in bio, having the link tree, and making it easier for them to just click. Don't make that rookie mistake, please.
So Cassandra asked Juliana a question, but Juliana had to be in another room. But what is it? Let me go away. Hold on. What do you suggest as some first posts for a new agent?
I just got into real estate.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's huge.
And there are pre-made designs in Command where you can say, you know, hey, just got my license. Hey, just got into real estate. Just signed on with Keller Williams. You know, start that conversation exactly with that. You know, and then as you're a new agent and you're sitting open houses, things like that, post about your open houses. Post, you know, again, start building that credibility. But yeah, Zach, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
Last thing I have for you guys, if you have any questions on any of this kind of thing, find us. We're more than happy to help you. We're all in this together. And yeah, I just, if you are curious about learning more about any of this, or you need help setting up your profiles, whatever it may be, find one of us. We're more than happy to help.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you guys.